Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet follows the story of an adventurous alien who discovers a planet that's infected with a nasty sickness. So he seeks to eradicate the beasts that have taken over and effectively save the entire galaxy from suffering the same fate. You know, while I was at E3, this is one of the games I got to spend a little time with, and I thought it was really interesting. I was having a chat to one of the developers, and he was telling me that he really wanted to create a game that let you figure things out on your own and not hold your hand too much, and I really think they've achieved that.
Yeah, absolutely. I did find it a bit confusing at times, especially right at the start where you're just pushing buttons trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do, but I liked that. You feel suddenly quite alone in this shadowy, silhouetted environment, and it's quite exciting venturing out with not much going on.
Once you start exploring, you'll quickly figure out that there are certain weapons and pieces of equipment that you'll need in order to make your way through each area, very much in the style of Metroid. Your little ship is quite quick and easy to navigate, but without the aid of your ray gun or claw arm, you won't get far. The claw arm was one of the more functional adjustments to the ship's design. However, I believe a set of pasta scoops would have been a good improvement.
Well, I'm not sure this alien eats much pasta, Darren, but yeah, the claw arm is great. It allows you to maneuver certain pieces of the environment around you to clear a path for your ship to fly through. Often this means feeding rocks to giant worms which are in your way. It took me ages to figure that one out.
One of the first things you'll acquire is this mini ray gun. This shoots little bullets in all directions, which you'll guide with the right stick. It takes some coordination to navigate movement with the left stick and the ray gun with the right, while firing the right trigger, but that's what a good arcade game is all about, quick reflexes and coordination. The beasties you encounter in this game are plentiful and dangerous. Your first few encounters are fairly tame, but once you get into those narrow passageways, it's a whole other story. Flying balls of fire, angry bat-like creatures, plants that shoot sentient missiles that can dodge your bullets. You have to be fast, and your shots need to be accurate to make it through.
As you take damage, your little ship deteriorates, but thankfully little glowing balls of light will occasionally appear growing amongst the plant life, restoring your health bit by bit. Also, reaching checkpoints will completely restore your health. These checkpoints are fairly forgiving at first, but later on in the game things start to get really tricky, and often those beloved save points are just after a really treacherous zone.
Your other objective in the game is to seek out and locate parts to upgrade your ship. The areas in the world are rather maze-like, so hitting select will bring up a map which will point you in the right direction. It isn't as simple as locating these parts though. The puzzles you'll have to solve to get them are tricky and require some dexterous manoeuvring and shooting.
You'll continue to pick up more weapons to help you take on bigger and badder nasties, like a buzzsaw and a missile. And this one area required me to guide a missile through a winding tunnel without it exploding. I must have tried that a zillion times. You have to be so accurate with those thumbsticks to make it through.
And the ice level was where it all started to go downhill for me. Dodging that minefield of constant floating ice shards while solving puzzles with crystals and lasers just drove me insane. There's a lot to take on at once, and there's certain parts of this game which will take you multiple tries to get through, but that's great if you're up for the challenge.
I know the devs really wanted this game to not guide you through it step by step the whole way through, but I found some of those puzzles frustratingly difficult. You have a kind of info ray, which you can fire at objects and it will give you an indication of which weapon you should be using, but often that's just not enough information with some of the later puzzles. I would have liked a bit more of a hint system for those moments.
Agreed. I have to admit I had a few rage quit moments in this game.
Hex, you rage quit? That's the unacceptable behaviour of a noob! Charging my laser!
Darren, I mean, I kept coming back to it. It's just that sometimes I need to take some time out to calm down before I reattempt the puzzles. Oh, but that last area, I mean, who decided that having to bump around into walls in the pitch black was a good idea? And you have to use your claw to grab onto lots of stuff in this section, but because it's pitch black, you can't see what you're grabbing, so it makes for puzzles that you know how to solve, but can't see if you're solving them. And I mean, come on, I'm in a spaceship that has saw blades and grabby arms and lasers, but I don't have a torch or even a few lights.
You could learn a thing or two from me, see?
Oh, no, point taken, Darren, point taken! I struggled a bit towards the end of this game where I found it more frustrating than fun, but I enjoyed the art and the sound design, so all up, I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I think if you're after a game to test your skills, then this is great, but maybe have a hunt around for something a little bit friendlier if you're a beginner, because Shadow Planet does require some experience. I'm giving it 7.